What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 23 of the MudWatch Sports Podcast on this Friday, November 22nd, 2024. I'm your host, Zach Malum, and excited again to talk all the latest in New York sports. Before we get started today, please subscribe below. Follow all of my social accounts. We do have to start with the breaking news out of the blue side of MetLife Stadium, as quarterback of the New York Giants, Daniel Jones, has been released today. And a statement coming out from owner John Mara saying that him and Daniel Jones mutually agreed that it was best for him and the future of the team to release him. And obviously, I think this situation, when you look at it in the end, probably the best situation for Daniel Jones. Obviously, the quarterback switched the other day and moving to third string, reports that he was maybe even the fourth string quarterback, and that's maybe how they were treating him. He got some scout team reps at safety, it was reported as well, and obviously not where Daniel Jones wanted to be. And I think that's the best move for him ultimately, to leave the Giants and try and find an opportunity elsewhere. In the end, something that should be looked at is the person that Daniel Jones truly is, one of the hardest workers in the locker room each and every day, and just a great person overall. And obviously his teammates have come out and talked about that. And it's been known for years in the 6 seasons that he's been with the Giants that he's one of the hardest workers, and all he wants to do is win games. And that's most important. I think when you look at the record, though, and the reason the Giants struggled, ultimately 24-45-1 Daniel Jones was as Giants quarterback, and you cannot go with a quarterback that has a record like that. The best move for the Giants was moving elsewhere, obviously sitting at 2-8 this season, but just one playoff appearance. And of course, a couple years ago, Jones's best season as Giants quarterback, and obviously got the contract out of it as well, for the 4-year, $160 million extension that he got, instead of giving that money to Saquon Barkley. That's a debate for another day. But for right now, Daniel Jones was not good enough as Giants quarterback, and the record speaks for itself. And when you look at it overall, it is the best move for him to move on and go elsewhere. Maybe if he has a better system, better coaching, maybe better players around him, he could be successful. But obviously, one of his weaknesses was the deep ball in the last couple of years, a horrendous percentage, under 20% on deep balls since 2022. And I think when you look at a quarterback and look at the top quarterbacks in the NFL, a lot of them are very accurate when it comes to deep balls, or accurate enough towards the league average. And Daniel Jones really just sputtered out of control in the last couple of years. So something he needs to work on there. But I think overall, Daniel Jones does have talent. That's not to be underestimated here. He does have talent. He's just not good enough with the players that the Giants put around him to make his own stuff happen. And I think when you look at the top quarterbacks in the NFL, like I said, they could throw the ball deep. They could also create for themselves, and don't need too much around them to be great. And I think when you look at Daniel Jones, he's really struggled with that so far in his Giants career. And obviously the Giants career comes to an end here. Daniel Jones released by the Giants today, and really sad news for Giant fans, and just a display of how poorly a lot of the last 6 years have gone with Daniel Jones on this Giants roster. But let's look ahead to this weekend's game, as the New York Giants at 2-8 take on the 4-6 Tampa Bay Buccaneers at MetLife Stadium. A 1:00 start on Sunday, and Tommy DeVito talked about it a couple days ago. He will be starting as Giants quarterback for this one. And when you look at this game, the Buccaneers overall need some wins here, and a team that's sputtering a little bit, out of control, and injuries had a lot to do with that. Obviously, Chris Godwin's out for the year. They've been without Mike Evans for a number of games, but now they're coming off of the bye, and Mike Evans returns to the lineup, and that should be absolutely huge for a guy like Baker Mayfield, who just could not find his options on offense, had a lot of trust in the running game, and those three running backs, the three-headed monster in the running back room. Also relied on Cade Otton a lot during that time when he was without those top weapons. Getting Mike Evans back is absolutely huge here, and the Giants have had their struggles in the secondary this year. So this should be a big game for Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans to get back on the same page and get Mike Evans to 100% health. That's the most important thing right now for the Bucs, who sit at 4-6 and still are close in the NFC South, excuse me, with a division that is just really, really poor in the end. Obviously, Atlanta has the lead, and the Saints are starting to find ways to win games. And now the Buccaneers trying to get a bit healthier on offense and try and figure things out on defense. I think this one's a solid game and a solid opportunity for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But as for the Giants, you got to just prove a point here. Was the switch the right move? Was Daniel Jones the problem in the end? Is Tommy DeVito the answer? Or will he just get a couple wins up on the board to boost the confidence of this team? All those questions have to be answered as now we look at this game, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are coming in as 6-point favorites, a total sitting at 41.5. But the 6-point favorites, I think the injury bug for the Buccaneers and getting Mike Evans back definitely helps this spread and boosts it for them. Obviously, this game should be interesting. And like I said, it's a Tommy DeVito game, and he needs to show out and prove that it was the right move, that the Giants made the switch, and maybe this offense just needed a jolt. And guys like Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson, even Tyrone Tracy out of the backfield, could they get a boost from Tommy DeVito now being at quarterback for the Giants? So we'll wait to see and find out, but this one should be a great one. 1 o'clock on Sunday. The 2-8 Giants hosting the 4-6 Tampa Bay Buccaneers at MetLife Stadium. With the New York Jets on a bye week this week, we head to the NBA, and the NBA Cup group stage is taking place once again tonight as the 6-9 Brooklyn Nets travel to Philadelphia to take on the very disappointing 2-12 Philadelphia 76ers tonight at 7 o'clock. And Philadelphia comes in as 4.5-point favorites, total sitting at 213.5. And this one is a very interesting game because we did get word yesterday that Paul George is out for the next couple of games with a left knee bone bruise that'll keep him out for this game and Sunday's game against the Clippers, and another loss and another injury for the Philadelphia 76ers heading into this one. So that's a big loss for them, and it's just a team that's sputtering out of control right now. A 5-game losing streak. Yes, they've played 5 potential playoff teams in those 5 games, against Memphis, Miami, Orlando, Cleveland, and the New York Knicks. But when you look at those games overall and the results in the end, 3 of those games, they lost by 10 plus. So, I mean, not really close games, more of a bit of blowouts, and really don't stand a chance against those teams. Obviously, the story in the end is Joel Embiid. He is going to be a game time decision for this one against the Brooklyn Nets. So that should be interesting. 76ers are hoping that he ends up playing. If he doesn't, then the Nets really feeling good heading into this matchup. They have some injuries of their own. Dorian Finney-Smith, Nick Claxton, both game time decisions heading into this game. So this one should be really interesting. Like I said, the Nets feeling okay at 6-9 right now. They're 2-6 on the road this year, but they're going up against a Sixers team that's just trying to find anything to win games. And this one, when you look at it overall, could the Nets just take it to the Sixers? They have a very talented backcourt. I've mentioned it multiple times, of Dennis Schroeder and Cam Thomas. They've been great this season, and when those two guys are feeling good, the Brooklyn Nets are, in the end, feeling really good. Cam Johnson's also been a very impactful player for the Nets so far this season, so he needs a big game tonight. I think you look at Ben Simmons as well. I think the problem for the Brooklyn Nets tonight will be who is guarding Joel Embiid if Nick Claxton, cannot go tonight. That's going to be the question. Will it be Dorian Finney-Smith, who's also a game time decision? They're going to have a tough decision there if both of those guys cannot be in the lineup. So the Nets hoping at least one of those guys is in for this one, so they can guard Joel Embiid. But, I mean, this is a huge game for the Philadelphia 76ers, especially in group play here. And obviously these games still go on the record, but sitting at 2-12, bottom of the Eastern Conference, bottom of the barrel, they need to find wins and find a jolt in this team. It's just been Jared McCain all year long for Philly, and they need something more. And obviously Joel Embiid being healthy is a huge, huge matter for the Philadelphia 76ers tonight. So we'll see what happens. Will Embiid play or will Nick Claxton play? Will Dorian Finney-Smith play? We'll all find out tonight. 7 o'clock game. Tune into that one. The 6-9 Brooklyn Nets taking on the 2-12 Philadelphia 76ers in the NBA Cup group stage. To finish things off today, it's another edition of a Sunday football preview. If you're new to this, each week I'll pick 2 to 3 of the top games across the NFL slate and share my thoughts on them. I have 2 big games this week, and let's start off in freezing cold Lambeau Field, which should be pretty snowy on Sunday. The 7-3 Green Bay Packers hosting the 5-5 San Francisco 49ers. 4:25 on Sunday, and the Packers, like I said, with the 7-3 record, they're coming off the win in Chicago, the blocked field goal to seal the deal against the Bears, a 20-19 victory for them. And now they sit at 7-3 and really have to continue to keep up at the top of the NFC North, with the Lions and the Vikings feeling really good right now. Great records for both of them. Lions at 9-1, Vikings at 8-2, and I mentioned the Packers sitting at 7-3, so still sitting in a good spot in the NFC playoff picture, but obviously would love to grab a win against really their enemy when it comes to the NFC playoffs. In recent history, 3 of the last 5 seasons, the Packers have gone home at the hands of the San Francisco 49ers, but maybe they got them at the right time. The Niners really struggling so far this season. A lot of it with injuries, a lot of it just bad play. And I think when you look at the Niners overall sitting at 5-5, and of course the injuries, when you bring up Brandon Ayuk being out for this one and being out for the year, Brock Purdy is questionable coming into this game. Of course, the offensive line has dealt with some injuries. The defense has dealt with injuries. Nick Bosa, questionable for this one. They got the Niners at the right time. Like I said, the Packers did. They have some questionable tags of their own. Jair Alexander, as well as Josh Jacobs, Edgerrin Cooper as well. All questionable for this one. But when you look at the other side, Purdy, Williams, Bosa, Kittle, all questionable coming into this one. It could be a big day for the Green Bay Packers. But looking at this spread overall, a 3-point Packers advantage here. They're -3 on their home field and a 46.5-point total. I'm looking at the Packers to win this game. I think when you look at the Packers overall this season, there's been ups and downs and rights and lefts, but they are the healthier team, and they look like the better team right now. And on their home field in snowy Lambeau, I'm still going to pick the Green Bay Packers to beat the 49ers. I know recent history points against that, but this is not the same Niners team that the Packers have seen year after year. This is a crippled, injured 49ers roster, and also a team that just hasn't gotten it together. Some of that could be due to injuries, and like I said, the other half of it, they just haven't played well. Division games, they just have not been strong enough, have not been able to close out games strong. So I look at the Packers and say, yeah, they have a clear advantage here on their home field. Should still be a close game, but I think the Packers cover and win this one at Lambeau and grab a huge win in this NFC playoff picture this weekend. That one should be a fascinating game. Tune into that one, 4:25 on Sunday. The other game I'm going to look at is the Sunday night football game. It's the 8-2 Philadelphia Eagles traveling to SoFi to take on the Los Angeles Rams, who sit at 5-5 on the year, and the Rams are 3-point underdogs. Eagles, come in as 3-point favorites. Total sitting at 48.5. And when you look at these two teams, it's been really strong for Philadelphia. 6 straight wins, feeling fantastic in the NFC East right now, and in the lead in the NFC East. They got that big division win over Washington last week, the 26-18 win at home against Washington on Thursday Night Football. Rams got a good win on the road in New England, 28-22 victory they got, but when you look at this Rams team, of course, 3 injuries through the offensive line as well as on defense have hurt them, but they have their guys back, their star players, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, both of them back in the lineup. And when you look at that plus what they already have in Kyren Williams, Matthew Stafford starting to get it together and starting to find that chemistry once again with Nacua and Kupp, that's really all you need on offense is those guys. And even with the struggles due to injuries, I think they look like a really solid team that's ready to go. I do believe that this one is a bit of a trap game. I know that you look at some games and say maybe the spread would be even closer. I look at this game overall and say that +3 for the Rams. I know they're at home, but I think the Eagles have been feeling fantastic so far right now, and nobody should be coming close to them. 3 points is a little bit low in my mind. I'm thinking the Rams could keep it close, maybe keep it by a field goal and push, or even have a chance to play spoiler, just like the Cleveland Browns did yesterday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So when you look at this game overall, I just think the spread is a little too low. As for the over-under, I'm going to pick the over. I think these teams like points, and obviously these offenses are hard to stop, but I do think the spread is a little bit low right now, especially for a Rams team that has the injuries that they do. I know that they're still sitting at 5-5, and yes, they're at home, but I like the Rams to cover this one against the 8-2 Philadelphia Eagles and maybe pull off a shocker. We'll see what happens between the Rams and the Eagles. Sunday Night Football should be a great one. Tune into that one, 8:20 on Sunday night. But that'll do it for episode 23 of the MudWatch Sports Podcast. Please subscribe below. I've been Zach Malamud. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend and talk to you all on Monday.